love reading so much.
Ryan's on an airplane.
Hey. In the car, trying not to get a ticket.
Joanne got a ticket today.
Oh no!
No.
Yeah, on the way home.
Bummer.
Expired.
Is that like a? Now, do you guys have your cars insured through the business? So like speed.
Yep.
Is that personal insurance?
No, she was going 120 in like in the school zone or something one year.
Yeah.
But for real, it was expired plates.
Ryan, where are you going?
I'm coming back from Mount Hood.
Oh, nice.
We have snowboard day every Wednesday with my kids. Go to school. Instead of going to school, they go snowboarding. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good up there.
Oh, it was gorgeous today.
Did I see you pulling your kids on a sled on a tractor?
Definitely. Yeah. In the snowstorm.
You got to make them tough.
That's
Yes.
the best.
If you have a tractor, you got to pull them.
So did everybody like the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody hated it?
Yeah, I'll tell you the one thing I don't like about it is
That's what I
when I really like books and I really like this book, I like to like listen to them again. And I feel like I can't listen to that book again. It's like one time through and it's like good, but you can't do it again.
Well, you know all the
I don't know.
punchlines.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, it's watching a really good movie, but like not a funny. Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to it again, but I loved it. I wish I was still listening to it.
Yeah. It's like watching The Departed and knowing that Leo gets shot in the face at the end. You can't watch it again because it ruins it.
Spoilers. Oh, is that?
Yeah,
how
never
that
seen
ends?
If you
movie.
haven't watched it by now, come on.
I literally watched it a week ago first time.
Well, I didn't ruin it for you then.
Well, me.
So Amy, you liked this one better than Never Split the Difference. And what were like, why? What were some of the things that you liked better?
Mostly that it seemed really genuine. So I've read some biographies. So you know that Steve Jobs biography that autobiography? No, biography. This one's an autobiography, right? So I really, really love that Steve Jobs one, the one with the black and white face on the front, because they didn't put like they didn't whitewash his story. Like they kind of make him out to look like a jerk, and he's a really complicated man. And so I always loved that. And then shortly after it, I read the Jim Henson one, and that's pretty whitewashed. Like, you know, they skip over anything that's not pretty about your life. And so I love Matthew McConaughey, like who wouldn't? But I did kind of think like, oh, it's just going to be a really nice story that he tells about his career and really puts him in a good light. And won't that be easy? But I feel like he told some stuff that's embarrassing and stuff that like his family stuff is kind of rough. And so I had a lot more respect for the book than I thought I would. I really liked it. If I'm going to read about someone's real life, I kind of want to hear the scoop, the juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like when Andy said that he wanted to read this book, I was like, I mean, I do like Matthew McConaughey, but like as an actor, like I don't know what he's going to talk about. Like, is he just going to talk about how he got all these cool movies and whatever? But my wife was like, oh, you should really check it out, because she watched listened to the Armchair Expert he was on or whatever. And he talked about a lot of the things in the book, like basically just give up a couple things about like his dad and the pissing contest and all this other stuff. And she's like, this sounds exactly like your childhood. And I was like, all right. So when I read it, when I listened to it, and it was just like, yeah, like a lot of like the shit that he went through as a kid was like very similar to like my childhood. So it was kind of funny to have that, like, it gave him the drive to like do a ton of stuff. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have everything handed to him or whatever, and he had to earn respect, and he had to fight his dad.
How many of us have had to fight your dad? Who's had to fight your dad in this thread? Because I have. So who's had to fight your dad?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're waiting on it, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
That was
Ryan.
definitely one of my takeaways was like, I need to be way harder on my kids. Because then they'll be like famous movie actors when they grow up.
Yeah, for real.
That's
a real thing though. Yeah, like I think about that all the time. Like when I was a kid, I had like, I didn't have it rough, but like it wasn't like anything like crazy awesome. I didn't have anything handed to me. And I think about that with my kids now. Like I've done stuff to where I can afford to like let them do shit or like go to Disney every year. And it's like, I need to like throw them in the yard and make them fight to come in and live inside or something. Like
break a pool stick and say,
right,
you know, here you go.
Right. Right. There was a thing a little while ago, and we talked about this on the podcast, but it was just like, I bought some shit for the house to like fix up outside, and my son wanted like a toy that day, and he like threw a fit that I spent like $3,000 on stone for outside, and I wouldn't buy him this like $60 game or something. And like from then on, I was just like, if you want anything, you have to like earn it. Like you're getting allowance, but you have to do your chores in order to get that allowance. And it was like, that was my like first step of like, let's toughen them up a little bit, but still there's way more I feel like I should be doing, especially after reading this of like he built that treehouse. Like I know he stole a bunch of shit, but like, you know, he earned that treehouse, you know?
Was it really as big as he said? He said it was like 13 stories or something.
I feel like he
that's crazy.
He embellished a little bit on some things.
I was like, really? 13 floors?
Maybe that was, you know, when you're a kid, everything seems bigger, and you're an adult, you're like, oh, it's only 6.
Right. It was just like 2 stories. It was like 2 pieces of plywood.
But if any one person was going to build a treehouse 13 stories high, I feel like it would be Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the supplies anyway,
Yeah.
right? So,
Well, you got free supplies.
Yeah.
Ryan, you being a vegetarian, is that lettuce and ketchup diet approved?
That I can see why he, in all the running, I can see why he lost so much weight. That's not a lot of that whole thing was crazy when he was in Australia.
Yeah, wasn't it?
That was sad.
And then
I
the
felt
fact
so
that like
sad.
everyone was in on the joke. The whole town was in on the joke. That's hilarious.
The funny thing about that story was that like I was in Rotary for like 5 years, and it's exactly like that. Like you can't turn down Rotary members. Like you have to like let them in, but there are like weirdos, and we do like the exchange program. So I've always thought about that, like random kids coming from other countries and having to stay with some random family in a small town. It'd be like, that's how it was the last time, right before I stopped doing Rotary, is this kid came over from, I don't even remember where he was from, but all he wanted to do when he got here was party. Like he didn't care about school. He just was like with tons of girls getting drunk like every weekend. And the one family was like, we can't have him anymore. Like we have to trade him off to some other family. And it sounded like that's what happened with the kid who traded with McConaughey, went to his house and used his truck and hung out with his girlfriend.
You got 2 girls pregnant.
Yeah, but like he said in there, like that maybe was a more fun experience, but for him anyway, like it changed his life. You know, it showed him, he found himself or more of himself, I should say.
Yeah. Did anybody connect with any of his bumper stickers?
I don't remember too many of the bumper stickers. They were kind of weird, but.
Well, when he wrote them, some of them were a little weird. Yeah.
What were some of them?
I don't remember.
I wrote down what I thought was one. I'm not sure if it was an actual bumper sticker, but the one where he said, some people want the AC on in the gym so they won't sweat.
Oh.
But I wear my beanie in July, so I will. And I loved that.
Is that why you're wearing one right now?
Yeah, only it's not July, I guess. But yeah, I just think that, I mean, how true is that, you know, because you're supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to be pushing yourself. And I mean, that's just the way, that's how you grow. Right. And so, yeah, I like that one. Would that be considered bumper sticker? I don't know.
I think so.
Kind of a long bumper sticker.
The quote that I wrote, I really liked was when his dad died, he wrote down less impressed, more involved. I wrote that quote down. I was like, that's a good quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a couple really good quotes in there that like I wrote down. My favorite one out of the whole thing though, was like near the end there where he said, I'll take an experienced C over an ignorant A any day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He said that, I guess, when he was skipping classes and he was going to
skip film school.
Yeah. He was trying to skip some of the classes so he could actually go and do, work as an actor or go on castings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I also had, I'd rather lose money having fun than make money being bored.
There you go.
I screenshotted one because it's too long to read, but the first sentence was acknowledge the existence of greatness and phenoms, excellence and extraordinaires, pleasures and pain. And it goes on to just like, all the good and bad and accepting it all instead of trying to avoid all the ugly things.
Yeah. He did that a lot. He like listed things like crazy. Like
he's a good writer.
List. Yeah.
One of my favorites was the truth is only offensive when you're lying. I thought that kind of hit pretty hard.
Yeah, he really,
man, that's pretty good.
He really liked to enforce that you should do stuff and lie. It just sucks when you get caught.
That came from his dad, I think.
Yeah.
Or his mom. Yeah.
His mom was pretty crazy too.
Yeah.
I feel like his dad was just fun and his mom was crazy.
Well, that opening scene where his mom, what happened at that very beginning one where they were having a fight
with the ketchup? Throwing ketchup at her. She's got a knife and he's throwing a broken ketchup shiv.
And she was just calling him fat and being like, okay,
come on, fat man.
And then they made up on the kitchen floor.
In front of the kids.
Yeah.
That's some passion right there.
The hardcore birds and the bees conversation.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy are at it again.
I liked the one that it said, if you're up to nothing, what was it? If you're up to nothing, no good is usually next. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, for real. One of my favorite ones was the story about how he had his truck and he could get the ladies and he was always having fun and he had to hustle hard because he had that piece of shit truck. And then he got that red sports car and everything got easy and stopped and he lost his sense of hustle. I always hate saying the word hustle because it sounds cheap, but
Mojo.
It's true though. Like he didn't have to do anything because he went and, he got rid of his drive to have to work hard.
That was such a good little story about how it was making him humble because he was just getting to thinking it was too awesome and it took him down a notch. And I feel like that's probably a quality of his to this day. He seems humble.
Yeah. I was just blown away by the scene where he walks into A Time to Kill and like, I can't remember the director's name, but the director just tells him to ad-lib. And that's how he gets the part. And then they use that part in the movie. And it's like one of the best movie scenes ever. And that's like what made him famous. He just like went with his gut and like, it's crazy, because that's such a good movie.
Yeah. The other one too is where he was doing Reign of Fire and he shaved his head. And like, I've always really liked that movie and I could not picture him in that movie without having that shaved head and like looking gnarly and scary and like grunting the whole movie basically.
Well, even when they're like, don't tell me you shaved your fucking head. There's no fucking way you shaved your head. Tell me you're full of shit. And he's like, no, I shaved my head. And just for him to like capitalize on that, like, this is what I'm doing. I did it, now you got to deal with it. So,
yeah.
I felt like some of those stories were lessons that go over into owning a business is like, you can read all the books you want. You can ask all the experts you want, but sometimes you just have to do things and trust your gut.
Yeah, there was a lot of things, like a lot of lessons and stuff he talked about that were very, that resonated with like business stuff and like how I do things or whatever. A lot of the cool stuff was just like, he was always very like going to a meeting like you want it, not like you need it. So I feel like when you go into things like that and they can sense that you need it, it's like they definitely have a leg up on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he approached like everything with that, especially when he like stopped doing the rom-coms and he would like got offered what it was like 5 million. And then it got like all the way up to like 14.5 or whatever. And he was still like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Didn't it take like 2 years before?
Who can turn down $14.5 million? That's a lot of money.
For probably like 2 months worth of work.
That's crazy.
I thought it was really interesting when he said how not only did he bail on doing rom-coms, but I mean, he had a production company, he had a clothing line, a record label. He had all of these he just had a giant umbrella with all these different companies. And he even he closed them. He's like, no, it's time for me to not half-ass anything again, because he was so spread out. It was all things he was interested in, but it was really cool to see that he even walked away from his own businesses that he started, not even just
I give 100%.
Sometimes you just got to smoke some weed and play some bongos, you know?
Yeah.
I thought he was.
I'm not sure.
Supportive wife too. Like when she told him to not half-ass it too, when he brought it up to her about, not doing the rom-coms, and she said that, I thought that was really cool.
It's just because she wanted him out of the house and making more money.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, he must get really crazy. She's probably like, get the hell out for a while.
Like, take your energy down.
Yeah, can you just go away for a bit?
Or even just the part of the book where he was in the what was it, the Amazon River or something, and he was wrestling some dude, just like going full bore with this guy.
Oh yeah,
and he had no idea who he was, but at the same time, like, this guy is like Hulk Hogan to these tribes, and he's just getting his ass handed to him. And afterwards, they're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, white dude," like just.
Didn't he hold his hand like for 7 miles?
For 15 miles, yeah.
15 miles.
All the way back.
Can you imagine what it looked like?
He did it twice too. He did it again when he came back to visit, like later. He held his hand again and walked him.
Awkward.
Well, I think there was a quote in there where they said, it wasn't that you lost, it was that you, what did he say? That you wanted, that you stepped up to the plate to fight the guy, right? Or something like that. Wasn't something like that?
They respected his courage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the same with business. Like with me, it's like, sometimes you got to take that leap of faith where you can get buried and, you got to do it.
Get that and you learn something from it. Yeah.
Right.
It was also funny too. He took that trip. Did he have the wet dream where he took the trip and went and saw the artist or whatever?
Which one? He had a couple of wet dreams on there.
I feel like he's just always had wet dreams. I feel like he just pisses the bed a lot. But
My daughter was in the truck when we were listening to that part. It was awesome.
I'm curious about you guys that listen to it. Am I echoing? I don't know how to stop it. Chad?
Someone turned the volume up or something. I'm sorry. I don't think you did anything. If someone turned the volume up, that's what's doing it.
Well, there's a lot in the book that I had to skip over because it was all his handwritten stuff, and I struggled to read his handwriting. And so I'm curious if they read it, if he read it in the audiobook.
Yeah, he read everything.
Okay. Yeah, like things like this.
I couldn't read any of that stuff. Is that where like all those bumper sticker ones were?
I'm super impatient.
Yeah, it was illegible. I mean, I couldn't quite make it out, a couple of those things from the book, but I started listening. I did both. So I read the book and then I listened to the Audible. However, I didn't quite finish. I have like an hour left.
Which was better?
You get to listen to Matthew McConaughey.
I think I like the book better, honestly. I don't know why. I mean, yeah,
you would.
I mean, he does. He does make it, certain things about
like little Mr. Texas. Little Mr. Texas. So like,
oh, he's so
cute. He was second place though.
Yeah, second place, runner up.
Mom lied to him his whole life.
That was good momming. I took a lesson from that. I was like, yeah, that's a good tip.
I thought that was awesome.
That's what the whole book was for me. It was a lot of good tips, man. The whole Greenlights. I mean, I know it's Matthew McConaughey, and the dude's life is just out of this world. Like you say, he maybe fibbed a little bit, but like if you look at it and you reflect on it in your own life, how many can you maybe realize some of the green lights that happened in your life, especially maybe for business, like something that may happen, some equipment that came to you, it was like 70% off of what it really would have been, or clients or something you donated, and green light, just opportunities. That's what's really cool to me. And it helped me think about it. Like, even look at it this way, you start something and out of nowhere, these guys start a podcast about screen printing and the entire thing and all the questions you have. What's that? That's a green light, right? So, book club like this, that's another green light. A whole bunch of stuff. Just saying.
Yeah, I think
you guys are kind of our green light.
When we were going to print for the Super Bowl and it didn't happen, and I posted about it like a week later or something.
Yeah.
And somebody, I think it might have been even you, Deanna. It was you. Like in the comments, you said that was your red light, and you turned a red light into a green light, right? Is that how you put it?
Yeah. 100%. And I would say, I love the green light analogy and the red lights. And when I looked at it, I was like, 2020 was full of red lights, and they ended up turning into green lights for my business. Personal life, a little different, but business life, everything that was so scary and would be definite red lights, ended up being perfect in the end. So when I read your comment, I was like, no, it was a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, so we didn't print, but we gained so many other things, that of course we wanted to print, but there was just a long list of things that we learned from. And so, yep. Trying to turn it in. There's a lot of, I guess you could say it's like making lemonade out of lemons or something, same situation.
Cool.
If you guys aren't talking, can you mute it so that the echo will go away?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Look at that.
Hello?
Or shut off the.
Now it's better.
Perfectly. We're gonna find out who it is. This is a slow.
I think it's me. I apologize.
Do you have headphones?
Nate? Is that who you're talking to?
Yeah, I think it's Nate.
It must be me. I'm gonna have to go steal some for my daughters because I know they have mine.
I hope they're Hello Kitty like puffy.
Let me go find out.
Okay. All right, let's talk shit about Nate now that he's gone. There was a bunch of stuff too. Like, I feel like in a lot of it, he was talking about how he didn't like to take no for an answer. And I thought that was funny because we just did a lot of that with the Chris Voss book.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of found his way around things.
Well, I think as business owners and entrepreneurs that you don't take no for an answer probably pretty often, because you're always pushing the limits. You're like, no, I can do it better. No, there has to be a way to do this. So we probably use no more than we probably think we do.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked the book a lot because, for one, I didn't have to do homework for once. And sometimes that just trying to keep up with all of the, profit first or the traction, and those are all good, but it gets overwhelming because you're just you already feel like you can't catch up sometimes in business, and then you're trying to do all this extra stuff. So it was nice to just listen to something weird and cool and awesome and then end up taking away stuff from it that I wasn't expecting to. So I thought it was fun.
I think as business owners, we sometimes get in the habit of just working all the time and feeling like everything you read or consume has to like work towards the goal. And so this one felt like just a relief. Like it was such an easy read.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of something like me and Andy were talking about when we wanted to start doing book club. I mean, it was definitely Andy's idea, but it was more about let's get out of the like everything is screen printing or everything is business or whatever. And it's like, let's find some shit that's we can still learn business stuff from, but it's different and stuff we want to listen to. I mean, the Chris Voss one was good. I definitely got stuff out of it, but that one was very businessy. Like it was out of it because it was like hostage negotiation stuff, but it was still like he was very. I feel like for me the hard part about that one was the narrator. It was very hard to listen to.
Yeah, I studied that book. Like I probably read it 7 times, and then I used it in 2 really hardcore negotiations, and it was really good. I think it's one of those books like you can literally read that book like once a year and like practice it. Mm-hmm. But it's intense. You have to like there's a lot of homework to your point. And this was like watching a movie and learning stuff. It was like watching a good, a good movie that like not one of those brainwashing movies, just like a movie that actually builds you up too.
What was the best part about it was like you could literally imagine what he was saying in your head, like the whole story, like every story. I feel like I could picture it happening. Yeah. And it was funny too, because like I do that like movie and steak night for my guys at the shop on Thursdays. And with the first book, I had that horrible narrator and I was trying to catch up so that I got the book done in time for book club. And I was making the guys listen to it in the car on the way to get steaks or whatever. And they were just like, oh my God, kill me now. And then when I started this book, I put the Mcconaughey in and everybody was like, no, you can't read it. Or you can't skip ahead, like save it for us on Thursdays. So it was like every Thursday in the car, like there and back is how I got this book done because they all wanted to listen to it. And like 2 or 3 of the guys too, like bought it that night and finished it on the weekend. And they were just like, oh, I really wanted to finish it. I couldn't wait till next Thursday.
Yeah. I put it on too. And everybody was like, whoa, is that Matthew McConaughey? All right. Yeah. Keep that rolling. And then it was like, his dad just bring a bird back to life, and then we kept listening.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That part was crazy.
That was phenomenal.
Well, you like put the whole bird in his mouth, right?
Yeah. The whole beak it was blowing into.
Yeah, it's in the toilet.
And then it was something about being gentle. He was being gentle, not putting too much air so it didn't blow the bird up or something like
His dad was so crazy that when he was first started to say that and then he put his bird in his mouth, I thought he was going to say he was going to eat it. That's what I really thought.
Like, can't waste a meal.
Yeah. I thought we were going to go to a dark place real quick. And then I was like, oh.
And then the bird lived like 8 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled out some Green Mile stuff right there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah.
I know I did criticize the Chris Voss book, but I have to admit I've been using it a lot. I don't have any big business negotiations, but mostly with my kids.
You're just using the mirroring on your kids over and over again.
Yes. And like, okay, you need to study for the DMV.
So good.
I'm just trying to manipulate the kids. And then like, I need to make them study for the DMV test. Like, here's how I'm going to approach it.
I started using people's titles from that book, like saying, using their name and then just everything from that. And then actually seeing a good outcome every time I think about the techniques from that book. So that was definitely a good one. I'm waiting for the 3rd book. This is a high book again.
Well, we know what the 3rd book is now, right?
Well, I don't think everybody. I think people
you guys know
that it was really close.
Yeah,
like it came down to just a few votes. But I can announce it now. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So it is Conscious Leadership won it.
Ryan's like, yeah, I've read that like 36 times.
I haven't actually.
Ryan, you haven't read that one?
No.
All right. That's amazing.
So it's about a guy, his name is John Mcconaughey. He started a movement when he founded Whole Foods, if you didn't know. And he is bringing, with Whole Foods, he brought natural organic food to the masses and he changed the market. And then it goes on to say, it's this book demystifies strategies that have helped him shepherd Whole Foods through 4 decades of incredible growth and innovation, including its recent sale to Amazon. Each chapter will challenge you to rethink conventional business wisdom through anecdotes, case studies, profiles of conscious leaders, and innovative techniques.
Whole Foods was sold to Amazon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan, come on.
You don't have that up in Whitney Point. You don't have a Whole Foods, apparently.
Yeah, he doesn't.
No, we have the real Whole Food, like a farm I could just go get food from.
The Whole Foods farm.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That sounds like a good book.
Yeah, we felt kind of bad because Amy had, she struggled with that first book.
I'm so mean. I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
No, Amy was right. I agreed with Amy too. Like you can't always, this isn't always a hostage negotiation. There has to be a little give and take. But
it's always a hostage negotiation.
I did like what I really liked from that book though, that like if you want like a certain number in your mind, that set a range and make sure your number is kind of at the bottom of that range. And then they feel like they've won, but you really won. So I thought that was kind of a cool strategy, actually.
So even though we hated it, Deanna, we reluctantly, it's good.
Yeah.
You learned stuff.
I would agree. I should read it again, but not right now.
if we're ever on an all-made trip and we get kidnapped, somebody's got to put the skills to work and get us out of there.
Well, that will be you, Ryan, because you read it 7 times. So we'll be counting on you.
Well, I agree with you, Deanna. That first book was more like homework. I had to, like, I would read a paragraph and I'd have to read it again. Yeah. Because I was like, wait, I know there was something there, but I didn't quite put it together. With Greenlights, you could just read right through it, and so it was just easier, maybe more of a story than the first one. And so, and also like you said, like Amy said, the first one is a bit manipulative, or it can be looked like that or construed like that for sure. But at the same time, sometimes in business negotiations, well, that's not such a bad thing. You're right with your kids and stuff. Our kids are manipulative towards us. I see it, I watch it. I'm like, wow, I'm pretty proud of this. What's going on right now? But,
did Joanne also read the book?
No, you didn't. She didn't read that one.
This isn't convincing.
He didn't want her to, so he could use it.
I was going to say, he has a leg up on you. You have to read it.
I didn't let her read it.
It's hidden.
The thing about that book is that you have to study it so hard. You can actually, it's crazy because you get caught in it, even if you've studied it, a lot. You can Jedi mind trick yourself, or somebody just use the same technique on you, and you're like, oh crap, So it's definitely interesting. It's so psychological.
Yeah, the whole time I was listening to that, I kept thinking, who is going to use this on me? Like
Ryan Moore.
Yeah, I'm like, how's this going to go down when I need my next piece of equipment?
It's why when you go on the Ryanet website, everything's like 846. That must be a really calculated number. That has to be what it is.
Was it even numbers or odd numbers that were better? Which one did he say?
Random numbers. More like odd, more
random.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things about this book too is that it was just like, and we talk about this like on the podcast, and it's kind of like sometimes we don't need advice. We just need to hear that we're not alone in the same problems and struggles. Absolutely. So I think for him, it was the thing of like him talking about his childhood and how rough certain things were and how crazy things were. And it just made you like, especially me, like it made me feel connected of like, well, he's a fucking, millionaire movie star or whatever. Like if he went through those struggles as a kid, like anybody could do that as long as they have the drive to do stuff. So,
yeah,
that's definitely how I connected more to this book, I guess.
It was really relatable for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely a good pick.
I really connected to that road trip. I forget where that took place in the timeline of his career, but I think he was famous enough that could you imagine camping somewhere in the Midwest and finding out Matthew McConaughey was there and that'd be crazy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the road trip when he went to Germany and rented the 3 motorcycles, like the brand new motorcycles or whatever. That
I forgot.
He must have read Never Split the Difference Autobahn. Too, because the guy was like, "That's going to be $12,000," and then they somehow got it for like whatever
400 or whatever.
400,
Yeah, like $400.
And then they crashed the Ducati, and he's like, "Oh, no big deal. Tell me about your story." It's like,
here's another one.
Whoa, dude.
His wife's in the back with a shotgun. Like, no.
So what was everybody's favorite story he had?
Australia, for sure.
That's a good one.
Australia was a good one.
I think for me was the where he was in the bar with just normal people looking for a southern sky for football. Yeah. And that for me, it just kind of brought it back to where it's like, fuck what's going on over here. I need to live in like this moment right now and soak it all in instead of worrying about what football game's on, I don't know. That's just what I liked about it.
Mine was the pissing contest.
Pissing contest.
Yeah, that was awesome too.
I like the one with his dad and his brother when his brother had long hair. He drove past the high school. He said, Jesus had long hair too. And then he drove past the high school for like 7 miles and he said, Jesus walked everywhere or something like that. Get out. And then he was an extra hour late because he stopped at the barbershop to get his hair cut.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Or when his brother pretended to be blind so that they could.
Oh, that one. And he said he had night blindness.
Oh, the golf. Yeah, the golf trip.
To get the dog into the hotel with them. Yeah.
I thought you said you were blind. Yeah, at nighttime.
Yeah, and he gets out of the driver's seat.
That one ruled. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it seemed like going back, listening to different stories about the book. It's like, man, every single one was really good.
I want to know what ones he had to weed out. That he was like, this is probably too much for this book.
Probably a lot of stuff with other celebrities that he couldn't dish on, but that those stories are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's such a good move on his part because he could have cashed in hard by releasing all of those stories that he has with other famous people. And the only person he was out to embarrass was himself, it seemed like. Mm-hmm. And that was really cool.
Trying to think of what other ones, because I'm definitely missing some.
I like the one where his brother was in the car, had that answering service. Got all mad about them not it's been shut down for 2 years. I was like, you've had it for like 2 years and you didn't know? It was off and he's going to take him to court and everything.
His brothers are like way older than him too, right? Like a lot older.
Well, he's an accident.
Yeah. I think they are.
His one brother's worth like $50 million too. Like,
really?
Guy?
Yeah. I looked it up. I said, because I was looking up his family. It was very intriguing. And his one brother, I think it's like sports betting stuff. I don't know, but he's worth $50 million.
The one that keeps taking him to the casino.
Yeah. It must be that.
It's on me. I don't know. It's on me.
Yeah.
That was the adopted brother, right?
I think the middle one was the adopted, right?
Yeah.
So I can't.
Yeah. He wanted to meet his adopted parents just to see if they were bald.
Like he walked in and walked back out.
Yeah.
I was just like, what did his adoptive parents?
Well, he said in the beginning he was a oopsie baby, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so.
I liked when he said that he was complaining about his shoes and he wanted a new pair of shoes so bad and he kept complaining. And then his mom said, complain one more time. I'm going to take you and meet the kid who has no feet.
Yeah, that was good.
All right. Well, forget about the shoes.
We all love the child abuse stories the best.
Yeah.
I think everything that happened in Australia was great with that family that was so messed up. You know, like
family.
And they just he's trying to like, I don't want to be here anymore. And they're like, no, Matthew, you can stay here. Like, it's all cool. And he says it in his accent. It's like, oh, this story's great. Where's this going? Where is this going?
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast yesterday and they interviewed Matthew about this book. And he says that every time he has any kind of stuff to do in Australia, they show up. Like they're there.
Oh my.
Like they're trying to, like we raised that kid, they're trying to get a piece of the pie, basically, it sounded like. But apparently they are still actively involved in his life when he pops up in Australia for different things.
The Dooley.
This book.
Oh my God.
It's just cultural differences.
That was the only time I got physically sick when I was listening to the book. I was folding shirts for like all day yesterday. And when I listened to I binged the book yesterday in 6 hours, by the way.
Wow.
So I had to fold shirts. And so I was folding shirts and the Dooleys came up and I actually got like physically anxious and like sick listening to them when they were like telling him what to, I was just like, oh my God. Please get
I thought something bad was going to happen.
It wasn't just like, oh, like we listened to it for a couple stories. Like, no, this was like 6 months of him living there with these people.
Yeah.
just the drive to their house. The drive to their house. No, we're a little bit further. It's like, well, where are you taking me? Like, what shack are you taking me to murder me? No, just a little further. It's a smaller town outside of here.
Imagine that's like, what was he, 18? Just like the prime of your life, just ready to take on the world and then have to suffer through that. Crazy.
Yeah. He was just trying to keep his word though.
Did anybody else notice the arc in the story of how when he was younger, he really liked and listened to John Mellencamp, and like he kept taking that John Mellencamp CD or tape, and then in the end, John Mellencamp played at his wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
I didn't catch that.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
When I was reading that, when I came upon that part, like I put the book down and I put my headphones on and I had to listen to that song, and I listened to it like 5 times in a row.
That's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Or even the part where like he was so excited about they were pregnant, and then they called their mom, and how influential his mom was to him over the years with everything she had to say. He's like, yeah, we're pregnant. And she's like, no, Matthew, you fucked up. Like, you fucked up. That's not how it's supposed to be. And then they just hung up. Like, okay.
And then she called back.
Yeah. And said, do whatever you want.
A whiteout. Whiteout.
Yeah, whiteout. Yeah.
He deserved a do-over and then she hung up.
Yeah.
That was kind of sad about his mom, how he kept saying she kept trying to get the limelight from him. And he kind of like wrote her off for a while.
Yeah.
That was real.
Yeah, she kind of threw him under the bus, like went on Entertainment Tonight and dished about him as a kid, right?
Yeah. He said he couldn't tell her anything anymore. And like he got really upset about that. Even listening to it, you could hear it in his voice still. He's really upset.
It'd be crazy to turn the TV on and see your mom walking people through your room and being like, this is where he sleeps. Crazy.
It was a really good book. I think I retract my statement about reading it again. Hearing all the stories again, I was like, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read it. I'm going to listen to it with my wife, maybe Amanda. We'll listen to it on a road trip or something.
I feel like you easily could. You could just sit down and like let it play instead of watching TV or something.
Yeah, I'd like to listen to it now. I read it, but I think I could listen to it.
I don't feel like I don't see how you could have read this. Like listening to it with him talk about stuff was like, I don't think I could have done it any other way.
There are a lot of great pictures in there though too. That I was.
There are good pictures, yeah.
Well, that was the thing too, is I bought the book just to have it because of like the whole us doing this or whatever. But like I opened it and I was like, shit, there's pictures in here.
But also, since he is a celebrity and you know his voice, I sort of, as I was reading it, I heard him. It was almost like he was talking. I don't know. Yeah. I enjoyed reading the book. Oh, really? But there's one more thing also. Another thing I liked that I wrote down was his quote of "one in a row," because I always use something similar. I use like chip away sort of, because I really like that successes, we all have businesses, and it takes like a long time to build, what we've got. And it's a whole bunch of successes. It's not just one thing, and so I really like that. I identified with it a lot, because otherwise, if you step back in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, I have 1,000 things to do to get to where I'm going to be, and that's a really tough thing to do. And so when you break it down to one in a row, I really like that. And it sort of like goes along with what he said. What did he say? He said, the man I am and who I hope to be sleep in the same bed, or go to bed at night in the same bed, or something like that. I really like that too, because you are this person, and you are also the person that you want to be, down the road. And so it's just a matter of, I guess, maybe stringing a whole bunch of these one in a rows together, possibly. So I really like that part too.
That's a good one.
What's everybody's favorite Matthew McConaughey movie?
All right.
Dazed and Confused. Yeah.
Lines.
Dazed and Confused.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dallas Buyers Club a lot. I don't know why, but that was a great movie. Lincoln
True
Lawyer.
Detective was amazing.
Yeah.
True Detective was so good.
Mine's
So good.
Mine's either True Detective or U571.
Russ, man.
Yeah, I really
Dylan,
thought you have to
he
go
goes
back and
undercover.
watch.
Dylan, you love all those rom-coms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely do.
Magic Mike for sure. Mike for sure.
I have it playing right now on the TV and next to me, just watching it.
What's U571?
I never heard of that either.
Really?
World War II.
Bon Jovi's in that movie.
Ooh, you're not selling it.
They're he's like a submarine captain or whatever, and they had to go on a mission to get like a German decoder machine off a U-boat or whatever, and they end up going into the U-boat and getting the machine, and then the American boat gets sunk, and then they have to like fight in the U-boat with like 8 guys. It's a crazy movie. It's good. It's definitely one of the, like, he mentions it in the book for like a second, but it was one of his like movies when he was younger. But I've always loved that movie.
Have you seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre where he has TV remotes and they like control his legs? It's awful. It's
I don't watch scary movies.
Oh, it's not scary. It's stupid, but it's funny.
I mean, Interstellar is such a great movie. But it's long. It's a long one.
I do really like Interstellar.
Yeah.
Oh, Interstellar is great. When he's driving away on the phone.
Tears.
Were you saying, Jordan?
Oh, I was gonna say, didn't he say he also did Sing 1 and Sing 2 for the kids? Singing.
I don't remember
movies?
that part.
I thought he said that in the audio book.
I think you're correct, Joanne.
He did the same
Yeah, I think he did it animated.
Somebody in there.
Well, he did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh yeah, that is a good movie.
I forgot he was in Field of Dreams, was it? Until he brought it up in the book.
Angels in the Outfield.
Or Angels in the Outfield. Yeah, Angels in the that was it. Angels in the Outfield, where he's like, "You're gonna pay me $20,000 to play fucking baseball? I'm in."
Sold.
Yeah.
But what about The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, that was a good one too.
He brought that in there.
Oh, that was so good. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was cool that when he shot that scene, he was on the like way to losing all that weight. You can kind of see it in that
You
scene.
can definitely tell in the movie.
Yeah, you can see his face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that kind of sunk in.
After I read it in the book, I went and watched it on YouTube because I was like, I don't remember him in that movie, but then I remembered it.
Yeah,
I liked how he said he did that like chest bumping thing in real life.
Yeah.
And Leo was like, "Hey, you gotta." Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that was weird.
That's him just having a green light. Like, I'm just gonna try this.
Yeah.
I actually posted that a little while ago. I did that face swap app with him and doing that part where he's like doing bumping the chest. Or
that movie Mud is really good if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. No,
That is really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, we all like Matthew McConaughey. I think that's the consensus.
This is the Matthew McConaughey quote.
Where do you think he goes from here?
Let's just read this one again next week or next month. Let's do a do-over.
Let's just watch Matthew McConaughey movies and discuss them.
Right. We'll just watch one. We'll just sit here and watch it and not say a word.
Well, Andy, I am curious about that next book. I haven't read it, but I think I listened to it on maybe Freakonomics or some kind of podcast. And, Amazon's a giant evil thing, but he defended it in a way that made me really curious to read the book.
Well, we'll post it later tomorrow or something so everybody can see what it's going to be and everything. But no, I think this was a great book. I'm glad we all got to do it and we got to talk about it. And we love doing these things with you guys. So we appreciate you being a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for making it. We heard Chessie from, where's she at in the UK?
She's in the UK. She couldn't stay awake.
She was trying to stay awake until we had this, which would make it, is it 7 hours or 8 hours or something like that later?
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be. It would be like 4 a.m. or something, but I guess she couldn't do it. So yeah, the next book. Excited.
Well, thanks guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Thanks for risking your life in your car, Ryan.